Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host, Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, EA Csolkovits. EA is the founder and Patriarch. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, EA. EA, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your great podcast and being able to share with your listeners.
I appreciate that. Feeling is mutual. And let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Well, I'm the son of a milkman from Chicago, Illinois. Originally, I'm in Michigan now. And from there, I became a janitor. And I was able to clean the house of June Martino, who has the third most controlling stock in McDonald's hamburgers. And she was worth many, many zeros on my fingers and toes. And that was my first touch with regular people can become super wealthy and super successful. And she was very approachable. She told me the whole McDonald's story. And she told me how she believed in Ray. And I said, and I thought to myself, I need to get a mentor. And about 2 or 3 months later, I got my mentor, Sam Robbins. And he was a gentleman that truly rewired my mind and inspired me to teach me how to have an exceptional life.
What are the top 3 mistakes to avoid?
Well, they're the things we teach with Givers University. It's simply, real put, people are not learning how to discern today. If people thought about the fires they stomp out each day, their stress levels spiking, there's always a name attached to those. And we teach people how to separate the person who we love, because we love everybody, from the deeds that they have that we may not love. And we teach people how to discern and what to look for, the specific deeds. So the deeds that we teach people, which are the 3 big mistakes to avoid, are number 1, the mindset that takers have versus the mindset that givers have. The second, the habits that takers have versus what givers have. And then, of course, the lifelong learning that they have and the questions they ask themselves. So we teach people how to discern. We don't label people. When we say someone's a giver, we're not saying that person. We're labeling their deeds. And when we say taker, we're labeling the deeds, not the person. So we teach people to separate the person from the deeds and to look at the specific things people are doing and deciding, should I bring them in closer? Or should I respectfully distance myself from them because I'm about ready to become collateral damage?
Mhm. So let me ask the question again, if we can answer it more specifically, because in post-production that will make our life much easier.
Yep.
What are the top 3 mistakes to avoid?
Mindset, thinking like a taker. Lifestyle, living like a taker. The 30 habits of takers. And also not being aware of how to discern what relationships I should have in my life and which ones I should not.
What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
Well, I have 3 major ones. Each one of them caused me to write a book so that I wasn't in that position again. So I'll share one of the 3. And I identify, my business mentor said, do not use the word failure. He said, failure sounds eternal. He said, use the word temporary defeat. He said, there's a big difference between failure and temporary defeat. He said, how you frame it and label it. So I would re-ask your question, if I may, for your listener's sake, what would be one of my greatest temporary defeats? And that would be when I was betrayed by a business partner, and he unexpectedly put my phone while leaving a message on my recorder. He unexpectedly put my phone when I wasn't home on recording that recorded him in another conversation on how they were going to take over a very successful training company we had. It was a total blindsided event. I had no way of knowing this was happening. And I overcame it by learning by listening to my business mentor, having my intellect rule my emotions. He said, when your intellect rules your emotions, you are in responsive mode. When your emotions rule your intellect, you are in reaction mode. So he said, be in responsive mode all the time. So I overcame it by getting my head around this betrayal after a sleepless night, and told the gentleman the next day, I said, Jim, I want you to buy me out. In 7 days, we had parted ways. We'd reached an agreement. And 12 months later, my income was double and he filed for personal bankruptcy, business bankruptcy, and got divorced.
What are your top 3 success secrets that others can model from?
To learn how to discern as a giver, have the right mindset. Think the right kinds of thoughts. In other words, labeling events, how we label events will have in our mind. And the self-talk, the things we say to ourselves, because we all become self-fulfilling prophecies. The second would be the lifestyle, the habits that we develop to develop a giver's kind of lifestyle. And we identify in Givers University the 30 habits that people should have, that you should watch for these habits to determine whether they're givers or takers. And then the last is learning the 4 critical questions that people should ask themselves before they make decisions that would almost give them the ability to, it looks like they can foretell the future, but actually it's just they're asking questions no one else is asking before they make their decisions.
We're about to get into lightning round. Are you ready?
Yes.
What are you grateful for today?
Being alive, and every single day I draw a breath, and I'm thankful for every blade of grass, to even the most spectacular things we see up in the sky.
How young are you?
65 years young.
So, EA, you are not 65, you are 18 years old with a 47 years experience. What you want to do when you grow up?
I'm doing it. With Givers University, we have a 30-year plan, and teaching people something not being taught, how to discern with their relationships. Businesses are open and closing, products come and go. No one's teaching people what kinds of relationships should I have in my life, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
How do you overcome a challenge life throws at you?
Well, I have 3 things I always keep in mind. Number 1, I will never give up. Number 2, I will always rise up. And number 3, I will overcome.
How do you start your day?
Well, I start my day with about 45 minutes of cardio. I do that 5 days a week. 4 days a week, I lift weights, and I read the Bible, and I do my self-improvement, and I do my social media links and posts for the day as well.
What is the advice you will give to younger yourself?
I would say, don't plan on doing anything different, but you are in for a very serious ride, and enjoy the journey, because the journey is going to be a wild one. And when you look back, you're going to love every second of it, and you wouldn't have wanted to change any of it.
Once you have a revenue generating idea, how do you convince your significant other?
I never have to. I just run with it, and I get 1,000% support. After 40 plus years of marriage, there's no convincing necessary. She knows I'm going to run with it and make it happen.
What is the impactful book you have read, and what did you learn from it?
Well, I already mentioned number 1 would be the Bible. Everything's in there, all the lessons we need to learn, and from time and going forward.
One more business book.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
What did you learn from it?
Think and Grow Rich actually first gets into the mindset, which was very valuable. My father gave it to me when I was 16 years old, and he said, this sat on my credenza for 2 years, and I read it, and he says, it's great. I think it might help you as well. And I learned about how to think, and that our lives really are self-fulfilling prophecies. The things we think and the things we put in place, those things will happen in our life. And as we move towards them. And Think and Grow Rich did have a second most important book impact on me, that's for sure.
Why being impactful is important to you?
It's my essence. I mean, it's what gets me up in the morning. It's why I don't use an alarm clock. I get up at exactly the minute I need to get up, because I know I'm going to have another rich, rewarding day to be able to teach people things they simply are not hearing anywhere else today.
Who is your mentor, and what's the impact?
My mentor was Sam Robbins. His impact was significant. I became the son he never had, even though he has a son. And he became my father that I never had, even though I had a father. He was not only my mentor, but lifelong. And I have to share that he helped me rewire my mind and think differently because I had the thoughts of a son of a milkman and burnt out janitor. And he helped me rethink my thought process to know. And one of the things he taught me was earning $1 million will be one of the easiest things you ever do. One of the hardest things will be thinking you're worth it. And I found that to be true. And when I earned $1 million in 1 year, he was exactly right.
What do you want to be remembered for?
The founder and patriarch of Givers University, to know that I was able to be blessed to bring a great message and teach people how to discern something that's just not being taught, and that helps people's happiness level and productivity go up.
Who is your ideal client?
Someone who wants to be happier and to reduce their stress and stomp out less fires every single day, and to not have energy drainers around them, but people who want to build the right community around them and know what to look for in these people to build what we call our givers community around them.
How can we support you?
We have a 7-question quiz that we would give to all of your listeners. It's at giversuniversity.info. So giversuniversity.com is our website, and giversuniversity.info, I-N-F-O, is where we want everyone to go, and they'll take a 7-question quiz. And the title of the quiz, what is your givers and takers awareness IQ? And they'll actually get an assessment, and they'll get an assessment on their answers, and go to giversuniversity.info, just like it's shown on the screen. And they'll actually be on the first page of the 7-question quiz. And we'll give them compliments of your great podcast, a number of free download checklists they can use every single day in their life, absolutely free. We want them to get it. So do the quiz at giversuniversity.info.
We are about to wrap up. I'd like to have you a few words about your today's guest experience on the show. Here is my question. What would you say about your today's guest experience on the show?
I think guest experience was excellent. I appreciate it as a part of the experience, the prep. Sometimes the host can be very lackluster, and I found that you were highly organized in preparations, from questions to reminders. Here's the show, you're going to be on the show. So I found it to be very detailed, and that made the experience a lot easier for the guest, and we can focus on getting the best information too. So I give you a major thumbs up as a host for a guest show. Thank you.
What would you say as the final word?
Give, and when you're through giving, give, and when you're through giving, give more.
Thank you so much, Iya, for sharing your wisdom with us today. On the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team, we really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.